The following program is brought to you by the pickup built to take a full 2,000 pounds. Elton by Chevrolet.
Hi, I'm Elton, and I should have been with you today, but unfortunately unforeseen circumstances have made me go back to England to do some business there, and I feel very guilty about it because Warner Brothers has spent all this money putting this thing on, and David Geffen's had to sell his car and everything like that, and I really am sorry that I can't be with you today, but we've got some good replacements for you. Ed Rosenblatt is going to sing a couple of Rod Stewart's hits, which, let's face it, can't be bad. And also, Bernie Taupin's going to be appearing. But I'm really sorry. I'm absolutely I'm devastated by the fact that I can't be here. It's probably one of the biggest blows that I've been dealt since Rod Stewart's record got to #1. So be prepared to sort of see other people from Warner Brothers, the interesting and wonderful...
How did he ever get on the television, mate? I tell you.
Good afternoon. I'd like to welcome you to this get-together, everybody who's watching throughout the country. I first of all like to say how delighted I am to be on Warner Brothers Records, or Geffen Records through Warner Brothers. It's lovely to be on WEA and be distributed, and it's nice to be on Geffen. I'm going to introduce someone who's been tremendously helpful towards me. He's probably known as the Pat Boone of the record industry. He's helped me through Bible study classes. He's discussed the error of my ways. I've discussed the error of his dress. But I would like to introduce someone who's been most helpful, and the people at Geffen have been fantastic for me at a time in my career where I needed people to be fantastic. So I'd like to introduce, I don't know his real title, but I know that he's wonderful, Mr. Eddie Rosenblatt from David Geffen Records.
I'd like to welcome everybody from the WEA market team to the first international teleconference. We're here to present to you Elton's first album on Geffen Records, and we're very excited about it, of course. We're live, and we hope that you're live out there in 20 different locations around this country. In our studio audience this afternoon, we have the WEA Los Angeles branch, headed by Brent Gordon. We have some of the Warner Brothers home office people and some of the WEA home office people. And also visiting, by the way, around the country in the Seattle area and in the New York area, or actually I should say Newark, and I hope you guys enjoyed your bus ride out there, and it's safe and everything, are members of the WEA Canada marketing team, and we welcome our friends...
Did you say the Queer Canada or the WEA?
No, WEA.
Oh, WEA.
WEA. Read my lips. WEA.
Right.
We welcome Ken Middleton and his friends out there. By the way, hopefully we will have this show available to everybody to be shipped to the WEA branches and satellite offices on videotape, so you can show them to our friends in radio and our friends at retail. David and I were very excited when Elton made up his mind to join Geffen Records and to record for us. And once we had the opportunity to hear The Fox, we became absolutely ecstatic. It's a marvelous album, which you're going to hear parts of it through this presentation. The album was produced by Chris Thomas, Bill Price, and Clive Franks.
And Elton John.
And Elton John.
Thank you.
And Elton, you wrote some songs with Gary Osborne and Tom Robinson, Bernie, and I think we have Bernie here. Can we bring him out? Or
Bernie Taupin, who's starved for years and made millions on my name. I mean, let's face it, but the little bastard has sort of raised his ugly head again, and I couldn't be more delighted than a lot of people said, why on Elton and Bernie, you know, they're not talking, you know, he's on an album with Alice Cooper and all this rubbish. Bernie and I are closer now than we've ever been, and I'm delighted to welcome him here today, Mr. Bernie Taupin.
What's Jar Jar Gabor doing back there? The dog just bit me.
Now, Bernie, I've got to talk to you. Elton introduces Bernie Taupin in Talk. Right.
Oh, I've got something for you.
See, Ed Rosenbach
Not
is definitely not the Ed McMahon of the Johnny Carson show.
Put these together this morning for you.
You put these together this morning?
Just before breakfast.
Lyrics, folks.
I forgot one.
Right.
Yeah.
Bernie and I have written 4 songs on the album together. There's The Fox. Funny story about The Fox. David Geffen and I went to Hawaii. It's all rumors, folks.
Okay.
No, we went to Hawaii because I had the... I gave David an album and he said, I want you to do another 6 tracks. And so I agreed to do 6 tracks if they could get Chris Thomas, and they did. And I went to Hawaii to write 6 songs. And this was a week before I'm supposed to go into the studio, and I had no songs written. And I'm panicking. And I didn't have an album title. And one day I said to David, what do you think of The Fox? And he says, fabulous, get Bernie to write a song called The Fox. And so I did. I rang Bernie up. I said, please, will you write a song called The Fox? And that's how that came about. Also, Just Like Belgium, which is on the album, was actually... I don't say that. No, it was originally written for the Rod Stewart album, but Rod turned it down. As we all see somebody special racing up the charts. Cruel but fair. And also, what other stuff did we write on them? Talk a bit, Ben.
We did Fascist Faces.
Fascist Faces,
Oh,
that should,
great.
you know, get me back on FM radio again.
And Heels of the Wind.
Eels of the Wind. Eels with the Wind.
Eels
yes.
with the Wind.
It's really nice to be working with you again.
Yes, well,
Tremendous.
thank you. You
And I
should be
think, in
pleased.
all seriousness, though, in all seriousness, I think this album, apart from being, I think, every artist said it's the best thing I've done, right? Maybe not the best thing I've done, but it's certainly, there's an energy spark there. And to be businesslike for a second, it's very important for me to get FM play back. Because a lot of FM stations gave up when Crocodile Rock came on, you know, and I don't really get as much FM play as I used to. I think Victim of Love finally buried me as far as that was concerned. But it's really important to me, and if they played Dan Fogelberg, they can bloody well play me, you know, or Styx, you know, or something like that. So we really want to get the FM people back on our side with this, and I think side 1 of the album will convince them that I haven't grown old, and, well, I've grown old, but I mean, there's still a lot of life in the old dog yet. Have I got to introduce somebody else? Yeah, I'm fed up with talking about this.
Okay.
Is it? Are you going to introduce this?
There's lots of people back there.
There's lots
I
of
think,
Big arm and move.
I think it's time for Lou Dennis, maybe.
Yes, I'd like to introduce the man who is probably going to take over the Mike Douglas show. Well, I see it's been reduced to a quarter of an hour now. Mr. Lou Dennis.
I guess it's the Mike Douglas show. Not bad.
This one's for you.
I guess it's my job to talk about the release date, the advertising, and so forth. The release date of the new Elton John album on Geffen Records and Tape City
Thank you, Lou.
will ship on May 6th. The street date will be May 11th. And we're about to make an announcement that's rather important, and that is that we have additional dating on this album, and so it becomes due and payable on August 10th, 1981. That information will be transmitted to the branches tomorrow. Also, we're going to be asking for a media planner on this album immediately, and those instructions will be coming out immediately.
Immediately.
We want your media plan right now. And we're going to ask you to immediately advertise at retail on May 14th. That is 3 days after this album and tape hits the street. That's with the retail activity. We want advertising on May 14th. With the racks, we would like that advertising to start on May 21st. The reason for that is obvious. We want to make sure that the racks have gotten this album out to their accounts. It's kind of weird and foolish to be advertising without records in the marketplace yet. You've all received your suggested initial orders. We're looking for about 300,000 plus tapes. We know that the We Are Market team will have no problem at all with that.
Thank
All right, so it's May 6th, May 11th, additional dating due in August. You're going to get all this transmission. And that has, that's all the mechanics. And right now, it's really a pleasure for me because I think the most important thing is the music. And I get a chance to introduce the single. And it's just fantastic. I get to introduce it, and in a moment, they'll tell you about our plans for the single. It's called Nobody Wins.
Oh, isn't it lovely? Oh, you can dance to it as well. Just a perfect record for the summer. Right. I'd now like, there's different people sort of appeared on stage now. I'd like to introduce Russ Tyrett, Mark Maitland, George Geraghty, and John Barbas. And they're now going to talk about what they're going to talk about.
We'll talk about the single and the album and the promotion plans for both. I'll deal primarily with the single. For the promotion people out there listening and watching this, 2 weeks from today, you will all have your DJ copies of the single. Hopefully, 2 weeks from tomorrow, it will be on all the radio stations in the country. We're going to be doing one of our Friday blitzes, as we normally, when we have a record that we feel this special about, as we normally do, which means get the planes ready, get the taxis ready, get the buses ready. Not only do we feel that we have a major bicycle, not only do we feel we have a major hit single, we think this is one of the finest albums we've had in a long time. Feel very, very strongly about it. Obviously, we've gone to a lot of expense and a lot of sweat up here to bring this presentation to you. We're not doing this as a joke. We believe very strongly we've got the real thing here. To follow up on the single promotion, Mark will talk about the marketing plans for the single.
On the single sales program, first of all, there will be a single sleeve, a 4-color sleeve, and it will be similar to the album graphics. There also will be available a counter display piece, and that will be shipping to all branches and sales offices on April 20th. Later on this program, Hale and Kent are going to show the merchandising pieces, the single sleeve, as well as the counter display piece for the single. There will be a national impact program on initial orders on the single. It'll be a 2-week continuous program, and it will run from April 20th through May 1st. So the week that the radio stations that Friday get the single, you have that first week to pre-sell, and then the following week of airplay to close out any accounts that are remaining at that time. The national release date for commercial copies will be Tuesday, April 28th. And you will receive all the specifics on this campaign in writing. It will be into the branches next week sometime. Good selling.
I would just like to go over what Russ said. First of all, John Barbas at Geffen Records, and I wanted to meet everybody, but all 384 at once, I am truly in shock, and it's hot up here. But we are after this record, and there's no question about it. There's a couple of things I would like to mention: the title of the album, The Fox, and also Just Like Belgium, which Elton and Bernie spoke of earlier, 2 collaborations by them. And if there's anything that I can do for you, I'm at Geffen Records. I will be traveling the marketplaces. Please feel free to pick up the telephone and give me a call.
Farmers Market.
Thanks, John. And for everybody who doesn't know John's home phone number in L.A., it's 213-271-3554. That's 213-271-3554. Please call collect.
Thanks, George.
Sorry, John.
That's all right.
But we're friends, remember?
Yeah, to the end.
John has mentioned a couple tracks on the record. We're going to be delivering the album on May the 8th. It's a Friday, and as our custom with the album, just as we're doing with the single, we're going to try and make this release right across the country on May the 8th, try to get every reporting station a record on Friday so that, we'll be prepared for the next week for airplay and tip sheets and whatever. And as John said, we're real excited about it, and we think the music really speaks for itself more than anything else. There are a couple cuts I'd like to talk about, especially for FM radio. For those of you who don't recognize me in this outfit, I do album promotion for Warner Brothers, and there's a song in here called Fascist Faces, which I believe that Elton has already mentioned, which is just an incredible track, I think, for FM radio, as well as a track that we're going to hear right now called Breaking Down the Barriers. Thank you.
Hi, Mom.
Thank you. Breaking Down Barriers, which is a Gary Osborne song. The Gary Osborne songs on the album are Chloe, Breaking Down Barriers, Thinks. Nobody Wins, which is a French song. Nobody Wins. Let me just talk about Nobody Wins for a second. I was driving in France last year very badly, and I heard this incredible record on the radio, and I stopped the car. It was called Je veux de la tendresse. And France means a lot to me, and so when I heard this record, and it's just an amazing song, I bought the record, and luckily it wasn't a hit anywhere, but Gary Osborne wrote the English lyrics to this song, which is going to earn the French writer a lot of money, and that's Nobody Wins. There's Chloe, there's Breaking Down Barriers, and there's, can't remember the other one he says. What's the other one? Oh, Heart in the Right Place. How could I? Yeah, Heart in the Right Place is written about this woman who writes the English press. I have this thing about press people who, it's not so bad over here actually, but in England we have the National Enquirer released every 6 days of the week as national newspapers. And I don't mind anybody slagging me off and saying he's boring, he's finished, he's over the hill, etc. It's just that some people earn a living out of saying nasty things about people without ever having an ounce of talent themselves. This song is having a go at those sort of people, one person in particular. Anyway, enough of that.
You want to talk about Chloe now, maybe?
Well, yeah. Well, the track Chloe, the introduction, the Carla etude, and all that bit, you think, God, what's going to happen? It's the second track I've done with the London Symphony Orchestra. The arrangement was done by James Newton Howard, who's the other keyboard player in my band. And over a sort of lifespan of 2 years, actually, the whole track's come together. The piano was done in Los Angeles in 1979. The strings, the London Symphony Orchestra, were done in New Year's Eve in 1979. The fanfare was done in Los Angeles in 1980. Chloe was done in Nice in 1979. So it's been a well-traveled track, and it's one I'm very, very proud of. And it's one of the tracks that Clive Franks and I produced. And when Chris Thomas did the 6 tracks, and I said, God, I've got to sit down and play him our tracks, one gets very nervous. It's a perfect opener to side 2, because side 1 is quite hairy all the way through. And I'm very, very pleased with that. No, he said modestly, I played everything myself. Yes. I'd like to introduce, actually, at this point, I'd like to introduce Pete Johnson and Adam Summers from Warner Brothers, who are going to talk to you about advertising.
I'd like to start by saying a lot of people here.
Stardom has not affected me.
A lot of people here have been talking about how excited they are about the music on this album.
And they're all wrong.
and certainly those of us who have heard this record are indeed excited. Beyond that, we're absolutely delighted with the package that we have on this album.
Yeah.
You have seen over there a replica of a fox. It in fact is alleged to be a fox, although it may be a withered coyote. There's been some debate within the building about this.
Thank you very much.
It's a truly awful looking fox and a truly great album.
Are you talking about me or the album? Get it out of the album. Let's have our grievances out now. Truly with the coyote shoots to number 1.
We should have called the album.
At any rate,
don't be nervous. Those trousers will come back in fashion one day.
you know, the excitement that happened around this music meant also that we had to get a package prepared very quickly because it seemed as if this should be out immediately. And I would like to give credit to the art director and designer on this package, who is Rick Serini from our art department, and Eric Blum, I beg your pardon, Eric, who did the photo session on the package. They're sitting over there. I don't know.
There they are. Can I interrupt you there for 1 minute? This just shows you how important a record company can be to an artist. You can get all the money in the world, but all the money in the world doesn't make up for the fact that someone shows a bit of interest. I've had incredible encouragement from Geffen Records and from Warner Brothers, and I had a sleeve done called The Fox, which is totally different from the one you're seeing, and I was adamant, and I was in Paris last week for my birthday. It always goes there for my birthday. And David Geffen phoned me up and says, I don't like the sleeve. And I said, David, if I thought you were 1% right, then I would do another session. He said, well, I'm sending over another couple of sleeves. I said, David, print my sleeve. Artistic license being what it is. And to give David Geffen his due, he said, okay, I'll go ahead and print it. 2 hours later, my manager arrives. Once he'd struggled out of his dress, it was all right. He said, I have album covers for you. And as soon as I saw this album cover, I was in awe. I mean, I couldn't speak. Rick Serini has just done an incredible job. And David was absolutely right. But for David to actually agree to print my album cover because I wanted it, that's what I mean. It's totally different. It's like another world for me. And I'm diversing a little bit, but I'm just saying how great. There's the sort of things that gives me the energy to do something perhaps a little bit better than I normally would have done on the other label. All right, thank you. That's another $1 million on the bounce.
I would also like to mention that I don't know if this is an obligatory promotional announcement or not, but the furnishings on the set over there and the furnishings that were used on the album cover are courtesy of an outfit called Skank World in Hollywood, where Rick made a wonderful arrangement to get this up-to-date television set, that horrible-looking fox.
I thought they came out of Ed's office.
And I would just like to thank Rick and Skank World. Also, I wanted to mention that as we had a great deal of success in terms of merchandising and consumer response to the loose shrink wrap that we did on the Who album, this album will also be packaged in loose shrink wrap, so I think it's going to be quite an interesting looking package. Having said that, in sheer terror, I would like to turn to Adam Summers.
Having said that, in sheer nylon.
Well, I'd like to reiterate.
Come on, my little friend, you have a go. Don't you be outdone by him.
We're a company of dwarfs here.
You've got thicker lenses than I have. There is no panic in the White House.
I just like to reiterate what Pete said about the cover, and we see a lot of packages go through in the course of a year, and not all of those packages give us the opportunity that this particular cover does, because it is so strong in terms of concept and because it was executed so well. If I may once again compliment Rick Serini. We now have a cover that will allow us...
Queen of Scots, you know. She was executed very well.
We do now have a cover that allows us to have a campaign in total that...
Carry on.
Okay. We will now have a campaign that will have visual continuity all the way through it.
Right on.
And in the trade advertising, there will be ads in all three trades, and I'm sure you're going to get very familiar with this background color. There'll also be an ad in Rolling Stone. And I want to, once again, as Lou indicated earlier, there's going to be a heavy media planner on this record, so there'll be lots of advertising. Because we feel so strongly about this cover, Shelley Cooper, who I think is sitting in Chicago watching this. Hi, Shelley.
Hi, Shelley.
Hi, Shelley.
Hi, Shelley.
Hi, Shelley.
Everybody.
Hi, Shelley, overcome.
That any of the branches that are going to be running print advertising would like custom ads done, we would be more than happy to provide the ad the ad boards.
Well, you better, darling, because my little beady eye, when this album comes out, I'm going to be going through every publication, darling. Geographical, weekly, whatever it is, quarter page, the Fox. Has to do with geography, doesn't it, darling?
Absolutely. At any rate, if anyone has any needs or comes up with any ideas that we haven't thought about regarding advertising, be sure and give Shelley a call.
Not him. Notice he's passing the buck to Shelley, right? Poor old Shelley's got nothing to do. She can't help. She's defenseless.
Have you got her home phone number for everybody?
I don't have it offhand, but I'm sure we can send it out later. In addition, there's quite a large merchandising campaign that's been planned on this, and I'll stop talking in another minute or two, then Hale Milgram, who's our head of merchandising, and Kent, who's...
Kent Crawford.
Kent Crawford, that's who he is. Yeah, are going to talk about the materials that are available, and I think Kent's going to talk about the type of coordination that we're going to be looking for from the WIA organization and Warner Brothers, so that this campaign does take place on the level that we're looking for. So,
well done, lad.
Mr. Right.
Hello, we're the interior decorators, and
you look like it.
And we're looking forward to this campaign because we have quite a few materials that I think you're going to be real excited with. Kent is holding up the singles browser box that you can see right here, over by the curtain. And this single browser box is a little different than any past ones we've done in that it can be used for a number of singles, for 8, 10, 12 Elton John singles. So we will continuously like you to get the support and get the visibility up front on the counters with the single counter browser box. You'll be getting the browser box on the 20th of this month. If you need any more browser boxes, give us a call. While Elton is redecorating himself right now.
You know, I don't know who he is, but he's weird and he's wonderful.
It's the Supremes!
And each of them will get a bucket of this paint.
Each of you will be getting a bucket of paint.
This is more than they get in their wage packet, right?
Also with the campaign, you'll be receiving this poster here on my left. And also, Kent is now going to be holding up the streamer in very bold letters. And on to the far extreme right, we've got the 4x4.
And the withered old coyote.
Please get together with your sales managers, marketing coordinators, and find out exactly what quantities you're going to need, because you'll be receiving all of these materials a week before the album ships. We would like you to try to secure as much space as you can right now, because we're expecting a long campaign on this one. And any problems or questions you have, please give your marketing coordinator, get together with him.
On this number.
Get together with him and your sales managers, and any problems or questions, give the Warner Brothers merchandising department a call, and we'll be glad to help you with it. Also, the TV guides you should all be having, you should have right now, in fact. 45 cents is due, and you can send it in to me at the office anytime. Inside these TV guides are breakdowns of all the materials available and suggestions of different ways the stores might want to use them. Please, please get to us.
It's good to roll a joint on this, but
with any questions you may have. Okay, now you're ready. Now we're ready for the complete recap, and here's Kent.
Thank you, Hale. It's good to see everybody out there.
actually, your name should be Harty.
This type of event really is your cup of tea. It's the thing that you people do the best.
For those viewers
we
in France,
have
vodka tested tea.
The artist Elton John on Geffen Records. You have the single on the radio the 24th of April and in the stores on the 28th with a 10% on initial orders. We've got the album, which will be on the radio on May 8th, that's a Friday, on the streets on the 11th, Monday.
In the trash cans on the Tuesday.
You have the additional dating, as Lou said. We've got the shrink wrap, the loose shrink wrap, which by popular demand is going to be on this record. The advertising, which was brought up, in addition to all the advertising mentioned,
we want to reiterate the fact that all trades will be covered. We'll have Rolling Stone magazine, and as always, we are open to all of your ideas that you may have above and beyond whatever is going out on the media planners. But the key thing in tying all this together really is how well the advertising and merchandising are coordinated at the retail and rack level. We want to take advantage of the incredible name, value, and image of the artist that we have, and the single and the album airplay, and everyone should be thinking really 2 months down the line. Out of the box, definitely, the advertising and the merchandising will match up, but also 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 8 weeks later, it's crucial that the field merchandisers, the marketing coordinators, and the salespeople and the advertising are all working together. And now we're going to play a little more music from the album. I think, what are we going to hear now? Fascist Faces, the album track that George mentioned, which, Louder? Louder? Okay, we're going to do that, and then I know everybody's got some questions, so thanks a lot. We want everybody to get out there and hit it, and we know you can do the best because you are.
All right.
Thank you.
Ed Rosenblatt, Mr. Cool, has just blown it on stage here. Fascist Faces. I'm glad Bernie wrote that, and not me, because he'll get the blame. No, that's one of my favorite tracks, and I think that's a sneaky... If you're going to talk seriously, and I haven't been talking seriously, I must apologize.
I never do.
That's a sort of Benny and the Jets track for me. I think a lot of people will pick up that, and that could be a sneaky single. I hope so, because I really like that track. At this point, I think I'm going to listen to some questions. I don't know, I haven't got a phone here. I haven't got a phone.
Just pick up the withered
There's a
old
lady
top.
over there trying to say, your place at 4. No. I can't read it from there. I've got terrible eyesight. Can you come a little nearer?
Wyckoff. Put it back there, I'll read it.
Van Wyckoff. Yes, it's right, from Baltimore. Okay, Van, it's up to you.
Okay. I'm Baltimore, Washington, Virginia, and who is the fox, or what is the meaning of the fox?
Well, earlier on, I told you about writing the song and thinking of the album title. When I phoned Bernie out, I said, write a song about me. How about it? So we changed the name from Female Impersonator to the Fox. No, I phoned Bernie out and I said, listen, write a song called The Fox, and try and write a song about me, and lyrically, because then, you know, I'd really be able to get into it, you know, when I sang it. So that, I am the Fox, like it or not. Dang, 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 dang. And it is a song about me written by Bernie. I haven't really analysed the lyrics yet, but I think they're pretty good lyrics. I mean, as far as they're very complimentary. Of course they are. Of course they are. Okay, so the Fox is really me.
Full of
the next question is coming from Claudia Warm, who's a WA sales rep in Dallas. Come in, Claudia. Yeah. I beg your pardon.
Hello.
Hello.
Claudia.
Hello.
Is that Claudia?
I think you missed number 2. No.
Claudia? We're not...
Hi.
Ah,
Hi.
Claudia. It's like doing it.
How
It's
you
like the
doing?
Eurovision Song Contest. Yes, I'm fine. Nice to speak to you.
Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
No, I can't hear you. I can just hear...
I can
okay,
hear
go
you.
ahead. Talk louder.
I can hear you. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Okay, my question from the Dallas branch is, we'd like to know what kind of music you're listening to now, and if you're interested in any particular artist other than your favorite Rod Stewart.
That's good. That's good. Let me at this point point out that for people who may be confused, Rod Stewart and I are the best of friends. It's just that we're like the Bob Hope and Bing Crosby of this generation, and we always slag each other off, but actually we're incredible friends. I listen to most things, Claudia. One of my favorite albums at the moment is Celestial Hawks by Keith Jarrett.
That's a good one.
Thank you. Unfortunately, it lost its bullet this week on the pop chart. I listen to all sorts of music. I find, living in Europe, I was hopelessly misquoted when I came over here this week. They said that I hated America or something like that, which is ludicrous. I don't hate America at all. I think America has always been the source of my inspiration, musically anyway. But there are so many good things happening in Europe, like the Pretenders and people like that, and I think America is gradually catching on to them. As far as, and the Stevie Winwood single is brilliant. That epitomizes good music for me.
All right.
Excellent. That's a good one, too. But you haven't lived if you haven't listened to the Mystic Moods album.
I also listen to a lot of Billy Joel, which is why I currently look why I do.
Next time you come to Dallas, I don't want you to miss out on Six Flags. It's a lot of fun.
I've been to Six Flags in Kansas City, and I've been to six. No, I shouldn't say this. Six Flags, did you say? Was there an L in it? Yes, there was. I must tell you a story. It's an incredible story. This is digressing totally. But in England, a faggot is a sausage, and it's a North Country sausage. And
Obviously, she wasn't interested.
You lost your earning.
She didn't care.
Immediately now, 7 million Warner Brothers people are running for the exits. No. This is true. A faggot is a North Country sausage, and and there's this firm in England called Birdseye, who are a frozen food company, and when you arrive at London Airport, all these poor old American tourists, they get off the plane at 6:30 in the morning after night, and they walk down the corridor, and the first thing they see is, have breakfast with a faggot. It's wonderful. But I usually turn them away. Right. Question from the floor.
Elton, we'd like to first welcome you to the team of WEA and Warner Brothers and Geffen. And could you tell us who or what was the inspiration behind Benny and the Jet song?
Oh, to Mr. Taupin there, actually.
It's totally fictional. It's a futuristic rock and roll song about a futuristic rock and roll group, and that's basically it.
Hi. I don't want you to think I've taken this album too seriously.
Next question is from Kevin Carroll from Warner Brothers Promotion in Cincinnati.
Good win yesterday in the old baseball game, Miss Son. Well done.
Yellow.
Kevin? Fled in terror. Can we hear?
Can we have your votes, Ireland?
Kevin?
Kevin? I don't think Kevin's
Be
there.
enterprising and sort of fill in.
Well, anyway.
Is there any other question?
Anybody from the floor or?
Chairman, Ohio passes.
The announcer. The announcer. I'm going to introduce this videotape of Henry Joe's, and that'll be it. Okay, unless you got something else you want to do.
What's the advertising?
What?
What's the advertising?
We have a question from the floor.
Hi, Elton. I have a question. Are you planning to tour to support this album? And if you are, who will be some of the musicians touring with you? And what regions of the country are you thinking of if such a tour comes about?
Fort Knox would be the region.
So you were wearing that on your finger.
I was going to do a tour this summer for 3 weeks, which was just when the album just came out. I don't think it's necessary. I want the album to be big. I believe in the album, and I think if it's successful, it will be a big album, and I'm talking seriously. And I don't think I should tour until people really are hungry to see me again. I could tour, and it would be great, but I want to tour probably at the end of the year, in all possibility. I will use the same band as I have at the moment, with maybe one change of personnel. But it will be the last band that toured. Richie Zito on guitar, Tim Rennick on guitar, Dee Murray on bass, James Newton-Howard on piano, and maybe a different drummer.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Question 6 is from Richard Wallard. What's that saying?
Richard Wallard.
Wallard, from Warner Brothers Promotion in Detroit. Richard, good day to you, sir.
Hello, Elton. How you doing?
I'm fine, how are you?
All right.
Well, listen, my question is this. Do you view this album as a musical and personal change in direction?
Not a change of direction, maybe. Just the intelligence that David Geffen and John Reed, who's my manager, had the intelligence to challenge me when I produced an okay album, and which I produced myself with Clive Franks. And they said, go and do another 6 tracks. And I sort of sulked about it, but I knew they were right. It's not a change of direction, it's just a spark. There's an excitement about this album, which is really strange, because, I mean, it's a mixture of old tracks and new. There is a genuine, I feel, spark about this album. It's not a conscious change. It's working with someone as brilliant as Chris Thomas to kick me up the arse, actually. Because no matter how big you get as a performer, you think you've crossed every bridge you've come to. Thank God, there's always a bridge to come to, and you always have to cross other bridges. And Chris Thomas kicked my ass, and well, he didn't actually literally kick my ass, but he's a brilliant man, and I owe a lot to him, and I owe a lot to David Geffen and Geffen Records and John Reed for making me do the album with Chris Thomas. So it's not a change of direction, it's just having to work under pressure again, which I'm best at.
Well, we're looking forward to it. We're going to kick ass with the album, too.
All right, good on you. Thank you.
I'm going to do this, I think.
Right, Eddie.
That's it. Yeah. At this point, we would like to hear from someone who, as we speak, is flying down to Miami to preparing for making the initial address at the NARM convention, and I think we can roll the tape at this time. I hope we can roll the tape at this time.
Eddie Rosenblatt asked me to say a few words on pricing and get into a few of our data processing projects, but I'll get to that. I guess by the time you see this, I'll be at NARM screwing up many of your customer relationships that you have developed throughout the years. This is a very special day. A special day, yes, first teleconference, but more important, to welcome Elton John to our family. As a part of that family, Elton, if I can call you EJ, you should know that we're different, we're unique, maybe a little strange. Wait till he runs into Mike Spence, Al Abrams, Bill Biggs, Paul Sheffield. Boy. Hey, I hope it works out. But Elton, you should know that as part of our family, you are warmly invited. Anytime you see the WEA sign, please consider it as your second home. I was fortunate to have been a part of handling Elton John's first album. And that's exactly what we did. We handled it, or mishandled it. I think we even misspelled his name. I had never heard of an Elton. I had heard of a Melvin. But now, with Elton John on Geffen Records, we are going to market it. Market it with all the sparks that we can muster. As Jody Rayther would say, we're going to kick ass. Incidentally, preceding me, I presume you will have heard about all of the ingredients that are going into the marketing of the album. I don't know if we've covered everything, but if we haven't, for Christ's sakes, pick up the phone and call. This is a major project, as you may have guessed. You probably have heard, in today's world, sophisticated, fancy marketing terms. You can use whatever terms you want to use. All I can say is deliver. we want to translate these words of welcome to Elton into deeds of welcome. So I'm really counting on you, as everyone in this room is counting on you. And if everything goes well, we'll see you in July if you do a good job.
All right. Way to go, Henry. I'd like to thank, as we're wrapping this up now, I've enjoyed myself tremendously. There's probably now only about 4 people left in the Holiday Inn. There's 20 Holiday Inns completely deserted, and these 4 people are rooted as well. I can't tell you enough, honestly, I've said it before, how it means to be with WEA, to be with Geffen Records especially, and to have the people of WEA and Warner Brothers Records behind me too. That means more to me than the advance. It really does. Believe that, you believe anything. No, seriously. I'm genuinely excited. I've come over here, you know, and I'm willing to go and work myself into the ground for this album. That means I'm going to grant 2 interviews in 4 years. I should be hopefully meeting the people that I've spoken to and I haven't spoken to. I'm looking forward to seeing you when I tour. Come backstage, say hello, have a drink. I hope to see the radio people. It's great to be part of a family, and I really feel that it is a family, and that's very important. And I'd like to thank you all for coming to the Holiday Inns. I mean, God, I've had enough of Holiday Inns, haven't you? Just think of the poor bastards in Los Angeles that had to go to the Tropicana. Oh, knock yourself out. Right. Thank you. I believe in the album, and if you do too, then that's all there is to it. If, you know, we'll see what happens from then on, but I believe in it, and I'm sure you're going to put everything behind it, because, I mean, just the general vibe that I get, you know. General vibe. Well, that's Milt Jackson in the army. You're going to be quick. Thank you very much. We're going to close by showing you a picture of Ed Rosenblatt's paycheck. What did you say, Ed?
Small.
So we've heard. But we're talking about your paycheck. Who's on first?
Absolutely. Oh, God.
This is a tape of a tired old tart like me singing in Central Park last year. Thank you once again. I look forward to seeing you all. Goodbye.
While in Los Angeles, guests of Thursday afternoon stay at the luxurious new Burbank Elton. And in Las Vegas, don't miss Kiki D, currently appearing at the fabulous Las Vegas Elton. Elton, the first name in hotels.